Hey, hello. Sorry about that. I got a little bit carried away. I was having a lovely time, and I forgot. Like, there's people waiting to hear my wisdom, my synthy wisdom, or something, some such. To hear my nonsense, perhaps is more apt. 1 2 1 2. That seems to be coming through. Good evening, and welcome to Molten Chat. So the idea of this evening is to get together and talk about, well, I say this every time, right? Is that we get together to talk about last month's or this month's Molten Music Monthly, which we never do. But it seems to be the premise through which I sit here and rattle on about a load of stuff. You prattle on in the chat. There's a little bit of interaction with a little bit of luck, a little bit of poking around at a few bits, and possibly some tiny moments of inspiration or excitement or extraordinariness, something of that nature. That's the plan. Is that looking all right? Yeah, that's looking okay. All right, lighting and stuff I was just wondering about. So there we are. Everything's in the way. Let me just push this over here so that's not quite so in the way. Sorry, right, okay. Hi everyone, good to see you. Sorry, I started off with a bit of a play because I was playing with it earlier and I was just enjoying it. And there's a sense that I think I'm going to be pulling this apart in a minute, and I didn't want that all to completely disappear without playing with it some more. So hi Andrew, well done for getting in here first. That's very impressive, very impressive. It's good to see. Ken, no, you're just in time. Oh, lovely to see you. Hi Ian, hi Steve, hi Andrew, hi FTP. Another Andrew, Steve, more Steves. We've got more Steves than we could possibly need. Hi Ken, good to see you as always. Barry, good to see you. Bill, good to see you too. Wow, the Norwich crew are in tonight. That's good to see you all. That's fantastic. Dots, hi. Jason, good to see you. Someone called Jack. Hello. And more people. That's lovely. Great. Good to see you. Sorry I won't probably get to say hello to everybody. I'm just going to skip through to get to the bottom of the chat. It's too much on YouTube tonight. I'm sorry. I didn't really look to see if I was overrunning anybody else. I'm sorry about that. If there is anybody else out there doing a thing. But, you know, this is like Molten Chat 70 odd. So I've been doing this for 70. That can't quite be right. 70 months. That doesn't sound right. But I do it a lot the Sunday after the Molten Monthly. So it's not as if it's an unknown. Not like taking anybody by surprise or anything. But yeah, so I've been playing with the Plasma Voice, a Game Changer one. I've had it for about 4 months and I'm supposed to have done a review of it. Not for anyone in particular because that was already bag-seed by someone. But Game Changer were good enough to send it to me. And I've sort of fiddled with it. I had like a first play and thought, wow, this is amazing. I really need to sit down and to give it some time, which I haven't really done. I've poked at it and fiddled with it a little bit from time to time. It's cropped up in things. But I sat down with it last week and started to have a real proper go so that I can do a video this week on it. And it's great. It's really, really great. Not for all the reasons that I thought as well initially. I mean, initially I thought, yeah, it's got some great sounds and that energy it has behind it, that plasma that's discharging behind it definitely gives it a uniqueness to it, a sense of urgency that you don't get in many things. But then I discovered that you could modulate the pat selection because it has like 7 banks of 7 sounds inside. And then it turns into a bit of a zaps, which is great. And so I'm enjoying that tremendously. And just watching it do its thing is quite amazing. So yeah, I hope to do a video on that this week with a bit of luck. Need to get that done. I feel like I haven't for a long time. So yeah, that would be good. I'm going to get that done this week. It's also was featuring the Echo Cinematic from Modular, which is doing this crazy sort of feedback thing. I mean, I haven't read the manual or worked out how to use it. I'm just plugging things through it through a bypass, and it just does this thing. It sort of creates this sound, this sort of soundscape of captured stuff which it then just builds into this thing that you have to keep control of, otherwise it all gets a bit unruly. So that's exciting too. So that's a couple of things we can play with. In fact, this row that I've got here is just fabulous at the minute. And this is kind of part of my dilemma for the evening, is that it's not quite enough. The row by itself isn't really enough to do 15 minutes. Well, I mean, it depends on how tolerant your audience is. I can have it running for 15 minutes. That's no problem, I suppose. But there's not really enough in there, I feel, to do a set. So, what am I talking about? So yeah, this is a great row of stuff. Thoroughly enjoying this, and this has been sort of my test bed for when I'm reviewing any particular module. But I need now to sort of fold it into a larger case to be able to take it to the EMOM on Thursday and actually perform with it. So what I was doing there, yeah, it was definitely something, and I'm definitely going to be using those elements. But then the next question is, how do I augment that? How do I do something with that next? And what modules am I going to take with me? I'm feeling at the moment that I need a case and a half, because I could go back to my folding clamshell Arturia Brute case, but that doesn't have any 1U, whereas the 1U's bits in this are very, very useful. And so I like the Bafako case for that, and also its size and shape is really great. I just feel that I'm not sure I can quite get everything I need in the one case. And so maybe having an extra row is going to be a solution to that. Maybe this has the mixer in it, because I've put the BX mixer back in here, the feedback modules BX mixer. Maybe that is taking up too much space. I don't know. And then should I perhaps put in the ground control from Endorphins and have like this power row of control and mixing? I mean, that's probably sensible, but that's not my forte. You know what I mean? Excuse me a sec. Yeah, being sensible is not my forte with these sorts of things. I like to do what I like to do. The other thing I was using in this was Trinity, which I've had for a long time and not quite gotten around to doing a proper review of. And it's both awesome and I'm not entirely convinced all at the same time. So I think I need to perhaps get to the bottom of it. Yeah. But then do I keep? Oh, I don't know. I mean, these are all questions I was going to come to in a minute, but I seem to be onto them already. Thanks, Ian. That was a good jam, says people. Oh, how lovely of you. That's really nice. So anyway, let me just... is it a can of Adnams? It's a can of Ghost Ship, sir. Yes, it is. I've been enjoying both the full fat and the 0.5 lately, which isn't too bad. Well, now I can make my voice go. Still on the end of this cold I've had, but I'm getting there now. I'm getting there now. Fingers are getting there. My general well-being is getting there. Is that... Just put that down a little bit. There we go. There we go. Hey, hi, and hey. Hey to you too, and to you. Hey. Right, sorry, skip it down. La-di-da-di-da. Da-di-da. Coffee. Yeah, I'm generally feeling a bit better, yeah. Okay, got to the bottom. Do the ground control. It's a lot of real estate, but amazing. Yeah. I've played with the ground control a bit, because I did this video on the Queen of Pentacles recently-ish. And yeah, it was definitely serving a purpose. It was a little bit of a, ooh, crikey, what's going on with that? You know, why is it only 14 steps? Things like that. So it takes a little bit of thought, I think, but I'm still trying to work out. I mean, it's all come on, talk sense, man. It's that conundrum as a modular musician, right? Is, do we use something that really nails the music side of it? So, you know, sitting down here, for instance, I've got one of these fellas, Keystep Pro, Do I use something like that? Do I use the ground control? Do I use the Her mod? Do I use the black sequencer? You know, something that really nails down a few channels of proper programming in a song, a set. Or do I do as I feel kind of more inclined to, fiddle around with little sequences and little things in different places? That is the question. Because I mean, when I was sitting here doing this jam a moment ago, I was thinking, well, how do I now change it? What do I do? And I did do something. I fiddled around with the Harp of Darkness, got it to play some different notes, which gave it a different bass line. But it wasn't an easy change. It was a fiddly faffling about, and then things started to change. I didn't have like a good programmed drop or a transition or something like that. Do you know what I mean? So that is always a difficulty. You know, I've got no problem with starting with a couple of sounds, fading one in, fading one out. But to do something which then changes properly is a bit more challenging, and that's still a challenge for me, I find. Which is when you've got little sequences doing things, they don't quite give you the versatility because you can't change perhaps like you would with something like the ground control. So these are questions. Am I going to repatch on the fly? Things like that. I don't know. I don't know. I'm enjoying this fella here, which you probably can't see. I might get a camera on it later on, which is the Detroit Pink 87, which is a really simple module by Modular plug, and it's 8 channels, I think it is. Yeah, 8 channels of just triggers, and you can record up to 64 triggers in it on a button. So you just tap in what you want, and it does it. And it's super simple, super effective. Again, you can't really vary it or change it, so I'm going to think about running it through something like the particles in order to give it a bit of processing, so I can then drop in some probability or drop in some fills and things like that. But at the moment, I've got that running through the DivKids mutes into the Trinity, because it doesn't have any on and off either. So it's like, it's almost too simple, but the triggers it produces, the fact that you can just tap them in and go, is brilliant. Totally love that. In fact, it's something which kind of the Trinity has, the Bastel Trinity, which I have up there, which, the funny thing about the Bastel Trinity, I think it's a really, really clever and cool module, but I tend to find everything that it does elsewhere in a less fiddly way, and so tend to use that instead. Because it's very compact, it does all these things which are great, and in a small system it's great if that's all I had. But like the Pink 87 is just easier to use for it. Similarly, the Play Fader does the sequencing side of it sort of better than that does, and they do it in a very similar way. And I just end up getting a little bit complicated within the Neo Trinity. So, you know, pros and cons. Pros and cons. What is a trigger sequencer again? Well, it's just something that sends out triggers in a sequence. There you go. Okay. Oxyland. Does it mean Oxy 1? Yeah, take a random set of modules and make some new stuff. Yeah, quite possibly. Yeah, no, certainly the ground control deserves more of my time, I would say. What was that trigger sequence? Detroit 87, I don't know actually. It got sent to me a little while ago, and I actually need to do a review for Sound on Sound for it, because it's, you know, it's good and simple and sometimes Sound on Sound likes good and simple stuff. What I will do, I'll give you a quick demo, shall I? I mean, that's something, isn't it? Your shirt is strobing. Well, that's good, isn't it? Not taking the disting anywhere. Right. Is this one? Can I make this come in on there? Where is it? There. No. Seems unlikely. I know. Hang on. So you got more shirt than you really want to look at. I appreciate that. Down there. Oh yeah, that's better. That's better. Right. If I do a bit of that. Okay. Yeah. Let's see if I can get this cable out of the way. What is that? Where is that from? What's that going to? Alright, that's something else. I don't know where I am now. What's that thing? Okay, yeah, right, alright. Let's see if I can clear some of the crap out of the way. Where's that from? Let's go there. So at times like these, I need some of Gaz's cable condoms, which I do have over there. I should put one of those and sort this out. Right, I've still got. Where did all that stuff come from? I thought I just got rid of all that. Right, there's no trouble, Andrew. I'm doing this for your benefit. Right, is that better? Not really. Okay. What's this one? Right, those need to go over there. This one. That's going up there. What's it doing down here then? Dear, dear. Has anyone got a map? That's going over there. And where's it coming from? There? Okay. Do I even need that plugged in? I do not. Let's take that out. Right. Can you see that now? Okay. Just prepare myself. Right, okay, so here you go. You got 8 channels, yeah, and you got a clock input and a reset there somewhere, I think. Yeah, so you've got 10 ports in total. Get rid of that. Could not be simpler. So I've got 3 going into the DivKid Moots. Given all of that, right? Bring that down a little bit. Let me bring my microphone over. Okay, so I'm going to clear all this out. So what you do is select what channel you want to do. So 1, I've got the kick drum on at the moment. I can put it into record. I can choose between 16, 32 or 64 steps. It's just a kick drum, so I could just stick one in. And it will come round again. And it's steps, so it's obviously quantized. And it would be probably more helpful if you did it to some kind of click or had something else that was making a noise, so you could start from that point. So for instance, if I do the hi-hat, which is on channel 3, just move around to channel 3, go, fill in all the steps, go to channel 2, there you go, simple as that. If I turned it to 64 steps, probably need to do is clear it first. When I do that. And then you can jam along as well. So I clear out 2, for instance, put in something a little bit more sensible. I can switch it to jam and just play on. And it doesn't record it. Got it? But it doesn't have a mute. It doesn't have any way of processing. It has no like variation. It has no probability or anything like that. It just does what it does. But for that, it's beautiful, which is why I've got it going through div kids mutes over here, so I can just quickly switch it in and switch it out. And as I say, if I run it through particles, the Panda particles, that could then introduce all sorts of bits of probability and absorption and such. I haven't tried that yet, but that's sort of something I'm going to try to do and have a look at to see whether that amount of HP for just running the triggers is justified. Do you know what I mean? And of course all of this depends on me being able to understand and work the Trinity. Which I sometimes do, sometimes don't. There you go, simples. And then of course I was actually using channel 4 to run the envelope for the oscillator. So where's that? This one. So where are we? 4. Where have you gone? Did I kill you out completely? What, 4, this was going over here, which is going into there, which is going there, which is not that. What did I turn it off? That was out, going into there. That's number 2. That's now, is that muted? No, there we go. Can never, with that BX, I can never remember which way round is mute. Because they're labelled mute at the bottom, but if you switch it towards mute, it's then on. So I've got channel 4 doing that. which means I can have something interesting going on with the bass line rather than just having it play the entire time. I could even use a VCA, right, to do that properly. Bloody envelopes again. Can I work out envelopes? No, I cannot. So yeah, that's the idea of the Detroit Pink 87 from Modular Plug. Simples, nice, yeah, lovely. We like that. So, because I'm completely undecided as to where my drums should come from most of the time, nearly all the time. I don't really know. I've most successfully used a grids clone, a little grids, but that's also a little bit troublesome. It doesn't always work when I think it does. I've done well running the PAMS workout through particles. That seems to work okay. And with particles you can mute stuff out quite easy, and you can add fills quite easy. So that's quite a good combination. Except that PAMS Pro workout is not the easiest thing to do. I do have a div skip that I need to build. That might be interesting because it does have Euclidean stuff in it, and maybe that would be a good way of creating drums. I don't know yet, haven't tried it. But otherwise, the Modular Plug, I think if you clear stuff and you re-record stuff, clear stuff, re-record stuff, it could give you some interesting things, particularly using the DivKid moots with it. I think is good, to the point where you could mute something out and reprogram it and then let it go again. I think that's quite cool. So that seems to be something. It has a lot of potential. Is it going to make it into the case? I don't know. Similarly with the Trinity, I think it's an interesting module. It's got a lot of scope for it, but I keep coming back. I've got this row of 3 little ones here. I'm on the different screen. Let's get back to this. 3 little ones up here, which are these XO ones, which is just a kick drum, a snare, and a hi-hat in little 1U modules, all analog. They're nice. A little bit pricey, I would say, for what they appear to be, but they just give you solid 808 sounds, you know, and sometimes that's all you need. All this fuffing around and faffing around in the Trinity, I'm not sure that I need it, to be fair. I just want that sound to be there. And then I can augment that with something like the plasma voice, which could be running a whole bunch of weird modulated changey stuff. I'm making so much sense. So much sense. Yeah, Andrew, I know what you mean about the Euclidean circles being a bit samey. Yeah, that is the thing. I think drums in Eurorack suffers a bit from that. How do you make it different? I mean, sometimes, you know, you want 4 to the floor, and that's fine, but then you also want to change that at some point quite as seamlessly as possible. Without, I mean, there's dropping in and dropping out, which is all right, but, you know, a little bit more than that. Just a little bit more than that. Hey, Paulie, good to see you. What was the math clone module you demoed many moons ago by Bafako? Bafako do have a mathsy sort of thing, but I don't actually have that module. Do you mean the function junction from Create Audio, Pittsburgh Create Audio? One of those two. Orange and black. That's the only thing that springs to mind. Yeah, I use the Pico drums a lot, actually. It's useful in the small amount of HP, although annoyingly 3 HP. Yeah, I've tended to use it a lot. The kick drum in there is quite nice. I quite liked. I've just been trying to find something that I can just give a little bit of tweak to, or a little bit more meat. I mean, I've got something like the Mandrake from Maelstrom, and I've got an Erica Synths kick drum. You know, big modules designed just to give you a kick. And it's just, I mean, I've used the Maelstrom quite a lot, but it just takes up a lot of space just for a kick drum. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I guess we want to perfectly craft our kick drums into something particularly extraordinary. Because then I also like the Kickane from Nobula, because that's got a 909 kick in it, which is a bit more solid than your 808, I find. And of course, with the side chaining in that, it gives you that wonderful throbbiness, which is very pleasing in a techno-esque set. So options, lots of options. I mean, I've got flip and hex inverter mutant drum. I could just use that just for a kick and use half my row just for that. It was a mod BAP Trinity I was referring to. Yes, thank you, David Ross, over in Facebook. Yes, it's something that, as I say, I've had it for far too long now, to the point where it's almost embarrassing to do a video on it because I've had it too long. But they deserve they should be rewarded with a review from me. Yes, absolutely. What am I saying? I don't know. It's like I really should do something on it, because it's a very good and interesting module, even if it doesn't necessarily really resonate with me particularly. But again, it's one of those things that I don't know well enough to really officially say that. And some of the cycling modes on that are excellent. The individual modes are excellent. But again, it boils down to, in a live performance, I just want good, solid drum sounds which are going to penetrate. You know, it's like why I don't have a clap at the moment. I'd have to go to the Queen of Pentacles for that, which is again another big module. I mean, I really enjoyed doing the video on that one recently, so that has some potential. But again, it's really quite wide, and I'm never entirely sure what to do with the sample side of it. Oh. Yeah. The difficulty with the Kickane is where you put it in the signal chain, because it has this side chaining ability, so you tend to run your whole mix through it. But that gets complicated because I have other output modules. And at what point does everything become stereo? Do I put it between the main outs and the other main outs, or do I just put some things through it? See, these are the dilemmas. These are the dilemmas. Yeah. Grids into 2 pico drums. Yeah, no, fair enough. Fair enough. Clap sample on the disting. Yeah. Because it's not stressful enough at a live performance that I want to start digging around in the disting. Yeah. But I suppose, I mean, if I have... I mean, ultimately, it's like at the moment up here in my mixing section, because, I mean, it's not very, obviously, who knows what's going on with me, but this has been my performance rack, but I haven't performed for 6 months at least properly, so it's all a bit in a state of disrepair. But I do have this mixer up here, this DPW mixer. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see that. Anyway. Which has been great. It's a 4-channel stereo mixer with a limiter in, so it just keeps everything under control, which is great. So I have stuff going into that, which I then route directly through this black stereo reverb, which then goes to my master output. So I'm routing everything through the reverb just to give a bit of reverb. So I'm not using that creatively, I'm using that just to give everything a bit of space. So I could... But then the Kicane also has reverb. But is its reverb as nice as the reverb on that? Maybe. So then do I put the Kicane in before the reverb or after the reverb? Before the reverb, I suppose. And then everything's going through it. Everything except the kick drum. Because the kick drum is then folded it into, oh dear. Sometimes I think, I mean, the Kicane, for all its fantastic usefulness in a rack, it also brings its own problems, because you're suddenly tied into having to use that kick and having to use that, which is maybe what you want. Maybe that's the best thing to do, is to just lean heavily into that and just keep that going, because it's hard to then bypass, even with a bypass module. Oh, complicated. Hey, Swizzle Circuits over in Twitch land. Yeah, you're right. Totally with that. It is what makes it fun. Use an audio looper and play the drums manually. Yeah, right. My timing is really on that. I mean, that's that's an interesting question. Here to talk about interesting things. Over here, I've got the lo-fi tape scrubber, which is an extraordinary thing. Do I have anything on it at the moment? If I play that round. Da-ba-da, da-ba-da-ba-da. Let's plug that in, shall we? Brilliant. Yeah, the audio input over there. Maybe I should plug something into it. Why don't I take the output of this there? Don't think it's fully working. try that again. I haven't, to be honest, played with it for quite a while, so who knows what could be going on with that. There we go. Rock and roll. So while I love the idea of the lo-fi tape scrubber, microtape scrubber, I don't know that I know what I'm doing with it exactly. Why was I talking about that? Oh no, somebody talking about playing drums live or something. Yeah, I could record potentially into that. I mean, there's many issues that arise through the lo-fi microtape scrubber. Not least of which is that there's no actual tempo to it. It's just a loop going round. So unless you know how long the loop is and how long it takes to go round, there's no way you can sync it to anything. So it's just going to go around making a strange noise, which is what it appears to do. Maybe I can I do that? So I try to redeem it with a little bit of something else. Could I do that? Because I'm given the impression that it's not that great. Well, actually, I think it is pretty great in its own way. I mean, voice is definitely what it likes, without any doubt. Yeah, I'm sure we got there. I think I can't remember what switch I need to have it on. No, I'm not doing it right. Not doing it right. Record playback. Is that record? Was that playback? No, that must be record. Okay, so that must be record. If I stop that for a minute. Come on, think about it. No, there's no thinking to have. That's just got to do it right. I think I need to tighten my tape up. Anyway, it's a beautiful thing that is obviously wasted on me. So yeah, maybe not that one then in my performance case right now. What blank? This blank? Isobar. Isobar Industries. What have they sent me? Forget. I don't know. What did they send me? Isobar. Oh, it was the Plexus. I think it was. Yeah, I think it's these guys, the Plexus guys. Yes, in their mighty morphing. It does, you know, 1 in, 9 output, multiple transition-y typey movements of modulation and bits and pieces. Yes, cool. Anyway, what are we talking about? Well, you know, if you're having to think about whether to get a Pro 12, whether to get a Polybrute 12, and how that's going to impact your Moog 1, I think they. Those are not the sort of problems that most of us have. That sounds awesome to me. I do have the Ceylon laying around. I could do that. However, it's got to go back. So I do have it, but I don't want to get too familiar with it because it has to, you know, it's only on loan for a review. So I've done that, and it's a lot of HP, and I know that it's brilliant, but, you know, I need to use what I can use again, as opposed to use something momentarily and then have to let it go and then go, oh, I'm really sad now. I can't use the Ceylon, the Seclon, whatever it's called. Plasma voice sounds like the plasma drive. Well, yeah, no, it does. It has a similar spittingness to it. But the drive, of course, is just an effect, whereas this is... well, it's interesting I haven't quite got to the bottom of exactly what it is, because it's, you know, you've got sort of waveforms being generated by this thing, but I mean, I'll talk about this in the video this week. It's like when you sort of watch the development of it from show to show, because they had it at a couple of different shows, and you're going, yeah, it doesn't work, does it? It's just going to be this crackle. So they've had to sort of take the discharge, the crackle that it has, and then do quite clever and very deliberate modulation with it to get it to form any kind of tone, and that's quite interesting. So it involves sort of samples being used as waveforms to modulate the discharge waveform, I think. So it just becomes very unique. I mean, it has this one particular sound, unless you filter all that out, which you can do to some degree. So it definitely has a very distinctive tone, a distinctive wetness and spit to it. So I don't think it's pretending to be anything else. You're not going to get, you know, CS80 vibes out of it or anything like that. In fact, out of the box, it doesn't. Yeah, the notes only last for about half a second. You have to tweak it a little bit to get it to drone or to loop and to do things like that. So it's quite. It has quite a limited range within itself, but what it does is very unique and very engaging, if that's the sort of thing you're after. So for me personally, either you save it up to the end for some kind of kick-ass bassline drop that's just, you know, big and energized, or you use it as a percussion thing that's rotating through lots of interesting squelches and bits and pieces. You drop that in at some point. That seems to be the way. But the range of sounds within it is quite good. Quite a lot of stuff in there, and you wonder whether you need 3 of these actually in order to fully appreciate it. But it certainly is one thing. It has one particular feature, and if you're not particularly into that, then it's not going to be for you. You know. Yeah. Some things are better for sound design, others for performance. Absolutely. Robert, hi, good to see you. Dreadbox, no. Funnily enough, I don't have any new Dreadbox stuff. I had the telepathy was the last thing that I had, which reminds me because I mean all the past, like the Erebus and the Hades and stuff like that I've got. I bought those myself, you know. I think it was only the Nymphs that Dreadbox sent me. I think Everything else I've bought myself because I thought they were great, and particularly the kits. But hey, I don't have any spare cash, so I'm not buying anything this year. Was the plan? I can't go anywhere, can't buy anything. So I think I'll give Source Distribution a shout because they're doing Dreadbox now in the UK, and maybe because Dreadbox have got, I mean, they've got a 10-year anniversary thing coming up. They've got the Nicks they've just done. They've got the Murmics and other things. So there's lots of interesting Dreadbox things coming up and coming out that I would very much like to have a go at because I do like their stuff. I love these two little synths. They're just brilliant. Can you see those? I've got the manual sitting inside. There we go. And there's, look, an early prototype Molten motion meter. Yay, with groovy knobs. Yeah, back in the day when I thought things were going to just be a bit too groovy. That's got a bit of a hack on the back, look. So yeah, piece of history, that. Piece of history. What am I talking about? I don't know. Anyway. Good to see you. Well, Wagyu, you're going to have to wait for my my video on it. I think, because I'm pretty sure I can get interesting things out of it. But yeah, as I was saying a few moments ago, it does have a very unique, very distinctive tone, and that is its thing. That is its thing. See you, Andrew. Take it easy out there, mate. Yeah, that's right. They've got a new poly out, which is like the Nymfest, but it's got some Sine Vibes effects, as your man says, and it seems to have a few more sliders on it, as if they've sort of learnt from the double level of the Nymfest, because that was a struggle sometimes. Anyway, Kenny, hi, good to see you. All right, got to the bottom again. That's good. So yeah, back to my dilemmas then. So in terms of what I'd like to use for the EMOM on Thursday is definitely the plasma voice. I'm going to take that out and see what I can do with that. As I say, either percussiveness or with using it as a very energized bass line. I'm liking the Echo Cinematic. I just need to work out what it's doing, because at the moment I'm keeping it under control, but I'm not entirely sure why it's doing what it's doing. And is there something else I could do to keep it slightly from going off into the middle of nowhere? So that's good. The Pony VCO, excellent. I'm going to keep that going, I think. And I've been enjoying this Black and Blue Foxtrot Duo filter, which I've got here, which can be 3 filters. It can be a ladder, it can be a sailing key, and a state variable. If I turn, is that from that? That came from that? No, that came from that. That, what is that? That's that from that. Whereas this is the this from this. This is that. That's that. Why did I turn it off? No, that is there. Oh no, I unplugged that bit. There we go. So it's there. This is the ladder version. And NS20 version, I suppose, like Moog. Sounds very Moogy to me. I'll lean into the mic in a minute. state variable. There you go, yeah, so that's the Foxtrot Duo. It does 3 filters in one, and it's quite interesting swapping between them like that, because you don't often get to do that. If you've got a row of different filters, you tend to be patching one into another as opposed to swapping between them, so you never quite get that direct comparison, do you know what I mean? So it's been quite interesting listening to and appreciating the difference between the ladder, the Salem key, and the state variable. I think it's good. I've heard from other people say no, it's rubbish, but for me that sounds really nice. It's a bit of a keeper. Although, you know, I've got filters. I've got a few filters now. I really should be sorting out. What I still don't have. I mean, I've been doing this for years now, and I still don't have satisfactory envelope solutions. You know. Just when I think I've got it and I understand it, it then all goes to pot again. Like I got this lovely little ADSR over here from ST Modular, simple as you like. But even that then goes, but why doesn't that work like another envelope works? Why does it have to work differently? Why does it not just work? Why do I have to faff around, and I'm now faffing around on release when really all I want is decay? You know, huh? What's that about? I don't understand. I don't understand. And then I end up using something like the Quart up here, which is cool, but that's just rise and fall, which is all right, but it's not always what I want, and it's not CV controllable. Oh dear. But I do have a design for my own envelope, funny enough, which is just going to solve the envelope problem once and for all. And I think everyone's going to think I'm extraordinarily amazing when I finally produce it, but it's probably a few years down the road yet, because that's just how long these things take. But one day, when the Molten envelope finally arrives, I think it's going to be called the Molten Anger. I think that's the plan. Angry. Molten Angry. And it will solve all of those envelope problems. Yeah, see, Steve, you say that. But is it actually going to solve my problems? I don't know that it is. I don't know that it is. Too many stages, that's what I think. Yeah, funnily enough, the maths as an envelope, as a pair of envelopes, was always very easy and very good. In fact, I think the maths was probably the first envelope I got. Obviously, it's not an envelope, but you can use the 2 channels as an envelope. And I used that a lot to start with. And I think in some ways that ruined me for things that came later, because posher, more clever envelopes, which I understand in terms of a synthesizer. If I was playing a synthesizer, excuse me, no bother. Envelopes are no bother. It's in the Eurorack environment that I find envelopes so tiresome, and to the point that I don't have any VCAs in my system at all, because I just can't be dealing with it. I can't be doing with it. Because it just drives me nuts. I would much rather just have a filter act kind of as a VCA, just because it's putting that cut-off down. I'd much rather do that. I can cope with that to a better degree than I can cope with trying to envelope a VCA and a filter at the same time, because it's I don't know. It's just not. It's not is what it is. It's not, and I'm not down with it. You know, even after, I mean, many years ago, I did a great video on envelopes using the This Is Not Rocket Science one, and it was beautiful, and I had moments of clarity there, but I haven't really progressed from there, and more often than not, I'm in a fog, an envelope fog. I'm enveloped in fog. It's always fascinating how people get different things out of different stuff depending on where their interest lies. You know, you discover something. You discover that you really like an exponential curve, or you really like a linear curve, or you really like something else, you know. And it's that piques your interest and is the whole reason why you love a particular module, because of a particular feature that it has that no one else is perhaps bothered with. That's always completely fascinating. Right, so trying to focus back onto what on earth it was I was talking about. So, so the things I want to keep into my rig for this week. So most of this row. So over here I've got an octone, which is doing 16 steps. I've got two. We've got, this is in the way. Can you see that? You can see that, I think. See that? Yeah. All right. So over here, I suppose my microphone. Over here is an octone from the Glasgow. What's it? Bunch of Glasgow guys. They sent me a second one, so I've got two going, which is giving me 16 steps. What I like about it is the fact that it's just going round. There's no beginning, there's no end, there's no step one. So it just does its thing, and you can very easily turn steps on and off, so it just carries on around it. There's some extra special stuff in there that I keep forgetting about, like ratchets and probability. But on the whole, it's just doing up to a 16-step sequence, and that's really nice. And the fact that you can easily turn down the steps, so it's only doing a few steps, that does give you variation. I like that. So that is probably going to stay, I think. Then the Art of Darkness over here, this wonderful 1U thing, which you just punch in a bunch of notes and it gives you a bunch of notes. I love that also. So these are the two things I'm sort of using in tandem at the moment. So those are definitely going to be a thing. I just need to decide whether that's enough, because that's only really two things. I'll tell you one thing that's happened. I've fallen out of love with the Surface. Finally, I use the Surface all the time. In every set I've ever done, I use the Surface, which is, what is it? A rings, essentially. You know, it's a physical modelling, a twang of a string. I've used it constantly, whereas I think I'm over it. Finally, I think I'm over it, and I can use some other tones. But what are they going to be? Am I really just pushing always down the analog line? Am I just looking for beeps and squibs? I don't know. It's a question. So the other thing that's running the little jam I did earlier is the Turing machine up here, which is always good. That is actually modulating the plasma voice. It's that which is modulating and finding all the different tones within the plasma voice via Molten motion meter here. So that is what that's doing. So at the moment, if I include the mixer, if I put all of this into a row, bring down the Turing machine, and then you do the output section. Oh, gee whiz, it just disappears so quick, doesn't it? I don't know, because I've got the plasma voice doing percussion, which I can then fade that out and then change that into a bass line later. I can do that, that's fine. Pony VCO is playing the main bass through the black and blue filter, possibly, and being smeared by the Echo Cinematic, maybe. I've got the Detroit running some drums. Not quite sure what the drum source is yet. I've got a lot of work to do, and I have no time, as ever, no time at all. I mean, I have a lot of other sonic possibilities. I've got the algo there, got the all simulator, but that's essentially just another oscillator. Got the Honor, which is a good, solid, always good oscillator, and I've got the Pony VCF, and I've also got the Sunless City filter. Yeah, what am I going to run it with? What am I going to do? Am I going to bring? Do I bring an extra row of programmingness? Because I mean, I think I have to make a decision on it. 'Cause I don't have enough time. If I make a decision on it, I either have to relearn the black sequencer, which is one of the things I'm probably more familiar with, but I haven't played with it for a while. Get into the ground control, or I could use the ASQ1, whatever it is, from Busy Circuits, because that's simple. That really is simple. I do not know. It's one of those weird things where it was easier when I had less choice. Much easier. Much easier. Right, so my focus then. My focus is that, go back to my Make Noise STO. I don't like those anymore. I love that. I've got two. I loved those when I started out. But I can't make it make nice sounds anymore. Don't know what that's about. Excuse me. So, what am I saying? What was I saying? So yeah, Plasma Voice, Pony VCO, Octone, Echo Cinematic. Those are nice things. I want to try new things. I've got a quad strip here from Sound Machines, which is a mod strip. Their new 4-channel mod strip, which could be interesting. I could run that to do some modulation into a couple of different things. It does have reset. I knew that it did. And then I could also use it to play a tune live, because I can run it through a quantizer and then use it for a little bit of live performance. That's quite a groovy, so I quite like that as an idea. I could definitely do that. And the other thing I've got to think about is it doesn't need to be too complicated. Don't need, I mean, it's 15 to 20 minutes. I mean, I can quite happily listen to, a single 8-note thing go around for 15, 20 minutes. So I don't have to overthink it. It can be nice and beautiful with a little bit of probability and a little bit of, wandering and change. And actually that's nice. It doesn't have to be, techno where you're having to make a change every minute or something, change something else, then it has to go away, then it has to come back and go away and come back and come back as something else. It doesn't have to be that frenetic. What mixer do I have? Well, as I say, that depends really. I've got this Feedback BX mixer, which is really, really nice. There's things I like about it. I like the fact it's got 2 auxiliaries. I like the fact it's got gain control. I like the fact it's got good sonic mute switches, although I can't remember which way up it goes. I don't like the fact that it's knobs and it's actually very crowded in here. I've not yet quite found the mixer for me. What I really like, I like the Div Kids. I like the output bus, the Div Kid output bus with a whole bunch of stereo strips. I think that is a fantastic mixer. But that doesn't have everything I need, funnily enough. It's a bit loose, but that works really well. And the DPW mixer I've got up here, it does the job, but again, those knobs are hard to get and hard to use in performance. It's got no mute switches, It's like there's 4-channel mixers from, Cosmotronica, and also from Nano Modules, sort of 4 to 6, which are kind of good, kind of better. Do they have everything that I need? I'm never quite sure. I don't know. Yeah, what about the RYK sequencer? Yes. Yeah, RK6 is nice. I like that. But it's only kind of one channel. Can be sort of two channels, but it's really only doing one thing, and it's really nice by itself for a period of time. Yeah, it's like because I'm sort of thinking now that this one row is sort of my control row. If I look at it like that, if I could put in a mixer, a sequencer, or two, then I think that's probably the best way forward. And then I've got all my control on this single row and all of the sound sources and filtering and stuff on the larger case. Except for, of course, the After Darkness, which will be in the middle of that. Does that matter? No, nothing matters. None of it matters. What are we talking about? Mattering? Good Lord, no. It's just a mine, isn't it? But I can definitely fit in my 3 drums into here, but then they need mixing, although that pairs quite well with a Molten motion meter because that's a 3-channel mixer. So yeah, I do have a 2 HP hi-hat. Then I could use the Pico drums. Back to that again. Oh dear. Erica sent me the Mutant Rim Shot, which again is a lot of module to producing a dunk. But hey, that's because I'm underappreciating the extraordinariness of it all. Dilemmas. Yeah. I just don't want to take this row apart because it's a beautiful row. It's a beautiful row. Particularly if I'm going to review the plasma voice, I should leave it in there. But no, I kind of really want it a bit more central than it is. Yeah. Yeah. Well, so I don't think we necessarily solved my particular dilemma this evening. But it's good to sit here and just my brain crunch through it a little bit. I also like how I was able to do a lot with just this one row. I like that. But I did need to mix it elsewhere because, yeah, I needed the mixer. Put that in. Doop 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 doop. Ponder, 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 ponder. Ponder. Got to get it together by Thursday. Yeah, but it will be good to give everything a bit of a shuffle. Do I want to put the Art for Darkness up here though? Because coming there, that's cool. And I was using the sleight of hand to give it some transpositional possibilities through a precision adder. There's always possibilities. Anyway, I think what I'll do is I will I will finish off by playing a little bit more on the plasma voice, because I could do with the practice myself. So if I put something through that and just play with some of the sounds, just to give you a bit more of an example, can I get it to do something which you perhaps were not expecting? Is that a possibility? Will I keep cutting the kick back in again? Possibly. See, that is slightly too much. I need to turn that down. How do I turn that down? I need to go to select that one. Ooh. Something wrong there. Using an LFO with a sample and hold on a quantizer. I mean, I kind of do that with the drawing machine. Do that with the drawing machine. It's a favourite thing to do. Take the output of the drawing machine through quantizer. So, you know, the plasma voice can sound not always entirely as if it's about to destroy itself with energy bolts. This is just the Pony VCO through the Echo Cinematic. It has this EQ in it, this filter, kind of like a tilt filter, I suppose. Which is really quite interesting. scope in there somewhere. I just need to find some way of pushing into something else and then coming back to it maybe. But I think there's definitely something there I can do for a bit for an EMOM, I reckon. There's so many different ways you can push the plasma voice. You know, because that's sounding really nice now. Right, yeah, good, right, yeah. Magic. There we go. Fantastic. Can I tap dance? Me? No. My boy Arthur can, though. Yeah, $20 is good any time, mate, for anything. I don't mind. Yeah, a lot of interest in that Detroit thing, yeah. It's good, isn't it? It's simple. I like the simple. It's the sort of thing that I could have thought up, you know? Sort of simple, effective, absolutely does the job. And then you go, you know, why is it that I can't do this in Eurorack normally? Because you kind of can't. We fuss around with probability and we fuss around with modulating trigger sequences and such like to get it to not quite do the thing we actually want, or we dial in different patterns from a Euclid or from a grids or something like that. So someone is always taking care of it. Where actually what you want to do is just go bat, 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 and you know, that does it. Yeah, Jason, great. See you later. I will be finishing now. So yeah, bump yourself over to Get Jervis, and he'll be doing some jamming in his Gene Jams, I believe it's called, which is fabulous. Everybody needs a bit of that. Right, so to finish off, so what am I doing? So so November is upon us. I've got a bit of writing to do, and then I've got potentially a week where I can squeeze in the odd video. So I'm going to be doing the Pulsar. No, it's called the Plasma Voice. Plasma Voice I've been playing with. I'm going to be doing a review of that this week, all being well. I've got a few builds on the go that I'd like to do and get those finished. I've got the Mantis to have a look at. Those are sort of priorities at the moment, and then get together a case for Thursday for the EMOM. Definitely I'm going to do my best to sort that out. Also with the Plasma Voice, I'm going to be taking a whole load of samples. I'm going to be putting that and rolling that up into a virtual instrument for you good people. So I also want to achieve that. If you're a Patreon, then if you're a patron rather, I will. Once I've done it, I'll stick it up for you to have a play with. See what you think about that. That'll be cool. Otherwise, yes, Synth East. Tickets are available now if you want to come along to Norwich next February for a synthesizer show. Very, very pleased to have Sequential Oberheim and Novation along this year. We've not had before, which is fantastic. So they've booked themselves 2 tables at Synth East. So hopefully that means we'll have a profit and an OBXE thing and a peak of some sort, which would be great. That'd be fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to that. Roland, I think, is the only people. Well, Roland and Yamaha are the two I've yet to get to bite on Synth East. But hey, early days. You never know what we might manage to do. But tickets are selling, so don't delay. Do get yourselves some tickets for what you want to go to see. The expo during the day on the Saturday, or the performances in the evening. DIY workshops. Just working out the second DIY workshop. Haven't quite nailed it yet. We just want to get that right, because it was a bit tricky logistically last year. So we want to try to make that a bit smoother for everyone this year. So just bear with us on that, and we'll get that sorted out. But there is a tape loop workshop available right now, which you can go and book yourself on. There's only a few spaces, so don't delay on that. What else was there to say on that? So yeah, no, if you're a manufacturer out there, of course, and you want to book a table, then do. I still have tables left at this point. I've got half, I think half have gone from the keen people. So yeah, don't hang about on that either. If you'd like to have a table, it's just first come, first serve. Come and give me a shout, and I'll point you to the right direction to get signed up for that. Do I have a 2HP sampler? No, I don't. Yeah, no, I haven't really gone down the sample route particularly. I've used the I can't remember what it's called. It was my favourite module of last year. What the heck is that called? One that sort of captures a note. It was a bit granular, like it's sustained. The endless. That's right, endless. That's the sort of thing I've used. So I've sung into that and grabbed part of my voice and used that. I've not used sort of samples or talking or other bits and pieces in my modular act as yet. I did use a bit of the original sample slicer. Actually, I had that and did use a little bit of that. To be fair, yeah. Anyway, I will. So that's all coming up. That's all coming up. So if you're in Norwich this week, then I'm hoping to perform at the EMOM at the Rumsey Wells in Norwich, which is not far from the Arts Centre, actually, just down the road. With a bit of luck, I'm going to be on in there. If I can pull it all together, that would be great. So it'd be great if you come along. I'll see you there. That would be fabulous. Otherwise, as I say, I'll be doing stuff. Hopefully get a couple of videos out this month. And I'll see you next time. So thanks for your company this evening, and in the meantime, go make some tunes. I'll play us out with a bit more of this nonsense. What did I do? I pressed this button. Hey, let's do it twice as fast. Let's do it half as fast. Twice as fast. Half as fast, twice as fast. 184. Oh, here we go. play. It was better before. no way I'm remembering any of it poorly. Anyway, I'm going to go now because Jason's playing on the other channel, so go make some tunes.